Hello and welcome everyone. So this is the chapter 1 of class 11th Polity, and the name of the chapter is Constitution, Why and How. So we have to address the two questions, which is why and another question is how. So can you relate the two question with the constitution? It seems like it is being asked, why do we need a constitution? And second one is like it is asking about how the constitution has been framed. So we have to address these two questions. Okay, so let's start the chapter with the introduction. This book is about the working of the Indian Constitution. Kindly note the word working. This book, not only this chapter, this whole book of class 11th is about the working of the Indian Constitution. In the chapters that follow, you will read information about various aspects of the working of our Constitution, and you will learn about the various institutions of the government in our country and their relationship with each other. So, two things: one is working of the constitution and another is institution of the government. Okay, so we have to focus on two things. One is working of the constitution and the next is institution of the government. And the third thing which we have to focus is the relationship. Like there are various institutions of the government. So how these institutions interact with each other. Okay. But before you begin to read about elections, which is the working of our constitution, governments, presidents, prime ministers, it is necessary to understand that the entire structure means the whole structure of the government and the various principles that bind the institutions of government means those rules and regulations have their origin in the Constitution of India. So whatever we call as principles that bind the institution of government or election or itself the government or president and prime minister, everything have their origin means a starting point from where they have evolved, from where they have started, originated, is the constitution, the constitution that we have. Okay, so to know about the working of the constitution, we first have to understand what is the constitution. Okay, so what a constitution means, what a constitution does to the society, means the role of constitution in the society. How does how constitutions govern the allocation of power in society, means distribution of power. What was the way in which constitution of India was made? So this will answer about the question how it has been made. Okay, so what the process must be taken at that time to frame the constitution, that we will see in this chapter. And this is the latest edition, as you can see, reprint 2025 and 26. Now first of all, the chapter starts with a question: why do we need a constitution? So focus on the word need. What is a constitution? What are its functions? What role does it perform for a society, and how does a constitution relate to our daily existence, means what is the role of constitution in our daily life. Answering these questions is not as difficult as you might think, means the answer of all these questions is very simple. Okay, it is not difficult. You will get to know about constitution, its function, the role of constitution in society, also in our daily life. So, constitution allows coordination and assurance. Assurance, that is trust, coordination to work together. Now, imagine yourself to be a member of a reasonably large group. Large group, that is lots of people there, and you are also a member of that group. Further, imagine that this group has the following characteristics. Given below are the characteristics. Now imagine member of this group are diverse. Diverse means varieties. Okay, differences. Diverse means different or differences, as you can say. Like they have different religion. Some are Hindus, Muslims, Christians, and perhaps some profess no religion. They are also varied in many different respects, like they pursue different professions, they have different abilities, they have different hobbies, different taste. Different people are having different mind na. That's why they have different profession. Everyone is working varieties of job. Okay, having different abilities, hobbies, different taste, from film to book. Some are rich, some are poor, some are old, some are young. So these are the kinds of differences that we see in that particular large group of which you are a member. Now imagine further that members of this group are likely to have disputes over various aspects of life. For example, the dispute would be regarding property, like how much property should one be allowed to own, or the dispute can be should it be compulsory that every child be sent to school, or should the parents be allowed to decide whether their children will go to school or not. So how much this group spend on its safety and security, this can also be a reason for dispute. And also, should it build more parks instead? Should the group be allowed to discriminate against some of its members? Every question will elicit a variety of answers from different people. Why? Because different people have different minds, and therefore they will provide different answer to these questions. Got it? This is called the diversity. Okay, for all their diversity, this group has to live together. Although they have different opinions regarding the question asked above, they have to live together. Why? Because they are dependent upon each other. They are dependent upon each other. So they cannot do discrimination against each other. They have to live together. Therefore, they require the cooperation of each other. So the root cause is that they are dependent. And if you are dependent on each other, you have to cooperate with each other. Okay, if you are dependent on each other, then you have to cooperate with each other. So what will enable the group to live together peacefully? For the cooperation, For being dependent on anyone, there should be some reason. Why are we dependent on another? Why should we cooperate with another? So there should be reason. One may say that perhaps members of this group can live together if they can agree on some basic rules. So there is a member suggesting about some basic rules on which everyone will agree to live together. Why will the group need certain basic rules? Think. Okay, there is a question. Why will the group need certain basic rules? If you want to live together, you have to follow some basic rule. Why? Let us imagine. Let us imagine what would happen in the absence of some basic rules. Every individual would be insecure simply because they would not know what members of this group could do to each other. It means trust issue. Trust issue. Okay, trust issue. Who could claim rights over what? Any group will need some basic rules that are publicly promulgated. It means that everyone should be known about these rules, okay, and known to all members, as I said, of that group to achieve a minimal degree of coordination. To remove this trust issue, we need some basic rules, okay, which everyone will know and follow it, and if they do not follow it, they will be punished. So there should be some basic rules to remove the trust issue, to build cooperation and trust among each other, and the rules should be known to everyone. Everyone should follow it, and if they fail to follow, they will be punished. But these rules must not only be known, they must also be enforceable. Means if they will not follow the rule, they will be punished. That is the meaning of enforceable. If citizens have no assurance that others will follow these rules, they will themselves have no reason to follow these rules. Okay, saying that the rules are legally enforceable gives an assurance to everybody that others will follow these, for if they do not do so, they will be punished, as I said here. So, the first function of a constitution is to provide a set of basic rules that allow for minimal coordination amongst members of a society. Suppose there is a team uh, like a cricket team. Okay, cricket team. As you know, there is one team who will bat and another team who will ball. Now suppose there are some rules to play the match, but this bowling team is not following the rules. Do you think that the batting team will follow the rules? They are watching that the bowling team is not following the rules and they are not getting any punishment for it. So why should them to follow the rules? This is the question. Therefore, they will decide also not to follow the rules. Why should they follow the rules if the opponent is not following the rules, getting no any punishment? Why should then they should follow the rules? Therefore, they will also not follow the rules. So there should be some punishment so that everyone will have minimal coordination amongst members, amongst each other. Okay, there should be enforceability. means if the rules will not be followed, they will be punished, and through this they will have some assurance that yes, if we have rules, we should follow this. Okay, so the first function of a constitution is to provide you a set of basic rules for which you can cooperate with each other. Now, specification of decision making powers means who will decide what to do and what not to do. A constitution is a body of fundamental principles according to which a state that is government, a state is constituted or governed. But what should these fundamental rules be? We know that constitution is a body of fundamental principles. Okay, that is good, that constitution is a body of fundamental principles. But what should be the fundamental principles? What are the fundamental principles? This is the question. Okay, and what makes them fundamental? Means what are those rules that are being called fundamental here, and why are they being called fundamental? Well, the first question you will have to decide is who gets to decide what laws governing the society should be. It means that first of all, find out who is having the decision making power, who will decide the fundamental rules, who will draft the fundamental rules through which we will govern, who will decide. Suppose you may want rule X, but others may want rule Y. Then how do we decide whose rules or preferences should govern us? Whose rule will govern us? Rule of X or rule Y? Whose rule? You may think the rules you want everyone to live by are the best, as we all know that our opinion we perceive as the best opinion. But others think also that their rules are the best. This will lead to the dispute. Then how do we resolve this dispute? Everyone is thinking that their rule is best, their rule is best. Then how do we resolve this dispute? So even before you decide what rules should govern, you have to decide that who gets to decide the rule. So before thinking about the rules, just think about the power. Who will have the power of decision making? The constitution has to provide an answer to this question. It specifies the basic allocation of power in a society. It decides who gets to decide. Okay, so the constitution will decide. The constitution will say who will be having the decision making power. Okay, so it decides who gets to decide what the laws will be. In principle, this question, who gets to decide, can be answered in many ways. Like, who will decide what the rules should be? One answer is that a monarchical constitution, a monarch decides. If we see a constitution made by a monarch, that is called a monarchical constitution. There, the rules and regulation are laid down, are decided by the monarch itself, whether it is king or queen. Another thing, like we have seen the old constitution of Soviet Union, there was a single party, okay, and that party was having the power to decide. It means that monarch can also decide the rules and regulation. Single party can also decide the rule and regulation. Depends upon the form of government. If the form of government is monarchical type, then the monarch will decide. If the form of government is single party type, then the single party will decide. But if the the form of government is democratic, there people get to decide. Why? Because people are the basic, the fundamental, you can say fundamental pillar of the whole democracy. People. Democracy is for the people, by the people, and of the people. Therefore, in the democratic constitution, people get to decide. Minister, as you can see, who is the minister? A citizen is a minister. Who is the citizen? People of that country. Like in India, the people of our country. Who is a citizen can be a minister, and he will decide the policy. Okay. But this matter is not so simple, because even if you answer that the people should decide, it will not answer the question that how people should decide. For something to be a law, should everyone agree to it? It means that it is asking about the procedure of decision making. Should the people directly vote on each matter as the ancient Greeks did? Or should the people express their preferences by electing representatives? But if the people act through their representatives, how should these representatives be elected? How many should there be? So there are lots of questions. If you are going to say that okay, people will decide that what laws should be made, then the question arises, how many people? Will the people directly vote or will vote through their representative? How will they formulate the laws? And how, if they are going to make the basic principles or basic rules through their representative, then how their representative be chosen or elected? These are the questions that we have to face. Now, in the Indian Constitution, Parliament gets to decide laws and policies. Why? Because Parliament are having MPs which are directly elected by the people of India, and that Parliament itself be organized in a particular manner. So Parliament is organized in a manner that it will get to decide laws and policies. As you know, Parliament is elected by the people. Before identifying what the law in any given society is, you have to identify who has the authority to enact it. Okay, we have made a rule. Okay, very good. But who will implement it? Who is having the authority to put this rule in effect? So, if Parliament has the authority to enact laws, there must be a law that bestow this authority on the Parliament to enact the law. So this is the another function of the Constitution. Constitution, it is an authority that constitutes government in the first place. Okay, so second function of a constitution is to specify who has the power to make decisions. Got it? Decision making power. It will also be specified by the constitution. It decides how the government will be constituted. So the form of government, decision making power, all these things is specified in the constitution. Now, third thing, limitations on the powers of the government. But this is clearly not enough. Suppose you had decided that who had the authority to make decisions, but then this authority passed the laws that you thought were patently unfair. Suppose you have elected your representative, he goes to the parliament, he formulated a law which is going against your benefit or interest. Now you will think that I have made him a minister, I have voted for him, I have elected him as our minister, as our representative, and now he is making a law which is going against us. So this is something like we have made you and you are now making our fools. Therefore it prohibited, like for example your elected representative has made a law which is prohibiting, which is stopping you from practicing your religion. Now what will you do if he has formulated a law stopping you to practice your religion, or it restrict you to enjoin that clothes of a certain color, law is saying that you cannot wear that cloth which is having a particular color, okay, or the law has been made that you are not free to sing certain songs, means restriction on singing of a song, or that people who belong to a particular group would always have to serve others and would not be allowed to retain any property, or a law is made like government could arbitrarily, means on his will, on the will of the government, without any evidence or anything, just government is willing to arrest someone, it is called arbitrarily arrest, or that only people of a certain skin color would be allowed to draw water from wells. Suppose you have chosen a minister and he is formulating such laws, what will be your position, brother? You would obviously think these laws were unjust and unfair. You will yourself think these things, that the laws that has been formulated by your selected representative is unjust, unfair, and even though they were passed by a government that had come into existence based on certain procedures, that would be something obviously unjust about that government enacting these laws. So got the point. The third function of a constitution is to set limits on what a government can impose on its citizen. Okay, so the constitution is also having a provisions which is the limitation on the power of the government, and these limits are fundamental in sense. It means that by any enactment, by any amendment, government cannot trespass them. They have to follow those limitations, they have to work under those limitations. Okay, so these were the third function. Now constitutions limit the power of government in many ways, like the constitution specify certain fundamental rights that all of us possess as citizens. We are citizen, we are having some fundamental rights, and those fundamental rights cannot be violated by our government. So what is this? This is the limitation on the power of the government. Okay, the exact content and interpretation of these rights varies from constitution to constitution. It means that in the constitution of every country there are some fundamental principles, and those fundamental principles varies, okay, from constitution to constitution, but mostly they will protect a basic cluster of rights. So constitution also protect your rights. Citizens will be protected from being arrested arbitrarily and for no reason. This is one basic limitation upon the power of government. Government cannot arrest anyone on his will. Okay. Another thing, citizens will normally have the right to some basic liberties, like they have freedom of speech, freedom of conscience, freedom of association, freedom to conduct a trade or business, etc. So these are the freedoms that is given to the citizen. Okay. As a limitation for the government, these rights can be limited during times of national emergency, but since we are citizen, we have to respect our nation, we have to respect the sovereignty of our nation, and therefore in the time of emergency, during the time of emergency, these rights that has been given to us will be limited. Okay. And the constitution specifies the circumstances under which these rights may be withdrawn, and also there are some circumstances like national emergency and etc under which these rights may be withdrawn. Now, aspirations and goals of a society. Most of the older constitutions limited themselves largely to allocating decision making power and setting some limits to government power. If we will see the older constitution, there the constitution is about the distribution of decision making power, means authority, and there are also some limits to the government power so that government will be under the control. But many 20th century constitution, modern constitution like our Indian constitution, it provides an enabling framework for the government to do certain positive things, not only limiting the government but also giving the government work regarding positive things to express aspirations and goals of a society. The Indian constitution was particularly innovative in this respect, that we have allowed our constitution flexibility, that there can be amendment in the constitution. Okay. Societies with deep entrenched inequalities of various kinds will not only have to set limits on the power of government, they will also have to enable and empower the government to take positive measures to overcome forms of inequality or deprivation. I hope you got my point. For example, India aspires to be a society that is free of caste discrimination. If this is our society's aspiration, the government will have to be enabled or empowered to take all the necessary steps to achieve this goal. The aspiration of the society is the supreme thing. Government have to do that thing which the citizen, the society aspires. Okay. In a country like South Africa, which had a deep historical history of racial discrimination, its new constitution had to enable the government to end racial discrimination. This is a very recent case regarding Africa, South Africa. More positively, a constitution may enshrine the aspirations of a society. It means that constitution is having aspirations of a society. Okay. The framers of the Indian constitution, those people who have framed the constitution, thought that each individual in society should have all that is necessary for them to lead a life of minimal degree and social self-respect. It means that those people who were framing our constitution, They also thought about individuals in the society. Okay, they thought that each individual means per person, every person in a society there are lots of persons, so every person should have all means basic thing that is necessary for them to lead a life of minimal dignity. It means that you have food to eat, you have shelter to live, and you have clothes to wear. So a person can have all that is necessary for them to lead a life of minimal dignity and social self respect also. Okay, so these things are minimum material well being. Education, education gives you dignity, education gives you self respect. The Indian Constitution enables the government to take positive welfare measures. Welfare measures means they will provide minimum material well-being, education, etc. Okay. Some of which are legally enforceable. It means that if the government is fails, if the government fails to provide some basic minimal degree of facility to its citizen, then the government will be punished. As we go on studying the Indian Constitution, we shall find that such enabling provision have the support of our preamble to our constitution. It means that here also the function of the constitution, like in the fundamental rights, we see there are lots of rights that has been given to the citizen, and if these rights are not enforceable, if these rights are not being followed by the government, then people can go to the high court under article 226 and to the supreme court under article 32. Okay, why? To make the fundamental rights legally enforceable. It means that government cannot deny fundamental rights to you. If you possess fundamental rights, if you are citizen of India, then fundamental rights will be given to you, and if it is not being given to you, then you can go to court so that you will have your fundamental rights. Okay, but here is another thing also. DPSP, Directive Principles of State Policy, which enable the government to do the welfare work while formulating any policy. Suppose government wants to formulate a law or a policy, then government must keep in mind some some directive principle of state policy which has been framed by our constitution maker. Okay, so that the state can do welfare work. It is the fourth function of constitution which enables the government to do the welfare work. Okay, and create condition for a just society. Just society means a society where justice is granted. Now, fundamental identity of a people. Finally, and perhaps even most importantly, a constitution expresses the fundamental identity of a people. This means people as a collective entity come into being only through the basic constitution. You get your identity from constitution. Got it? You get your identity. We know identity is the most important thing in the whole world. We say someone as American, African, Indian, European, then we are saying it on the basis of their identity. So that identity has been provided by the constitution. It is by agreeing to a basic set of norms about how one should be governed and who should be governed that one forms a collective identity. One has many sets of identities that exist prior to a constitution, but by agreeing to certain basic norms and principles, one constitute one's basic political identity. It means that now the people are aware enough to take steps if their rights are violated. Okay. Constitutional norms are the overarching framework within which one pursues individual aspirations, goals, and freedoms. All you have to do that if you are doing something, must keep in mind that whatever you are doing should be under the limit of the constitution, because constitution guarantees freedom to only those things which is not a harm to the society. And if you are doing harm to the society, then you must get punishment from the uh, police or from the government as per the constitution. Okay. Constitution sets authoritative constraints upon what one may or may not do. As I have said, that whatever you have to do, do in a limit. It defines the fundamental values that we may not trespass. So the constitution also gives one a moral identity. We have been given a moral identity, that what we can do and what we cannot do. Third and finally, it may be the case that many basic political and moral values are now shared across different constitutional traditions. Okay, let me drink water. You also drink water if you want. Okay, so let's continue. If one looks at constitutions around the world, maybe they differ in many respects, but they also share a good deal. So what are the differences? What are the common or shared good deal? Like in the form of government, they may have different procedural details. Okay. And the similarities are that they all protect certain basic rights given to the citizens. Like maybe the form of government there differ in various ways. Maybe the law enforcement process, or how the law should be made, these procedures may vary from constitution to constitution. But one thing that is most important, that is common to most of the constitution, is that all the constitution protect certain basic rights. But constitutions are different in the way they embody conceptions of national identity. Most nations are an amalgamation of a complex set of historical traditions. They weave together the diverse groups that reside within the nation in different ways. So different nations have faced different unification process. Like German identity was constituted by being ethnically German. If you are by ethnicity German, then you will be call yourself as German. The constitution gave expression to this identity. But we are not Indian on the basis of our ethnicity. There are some criterion for our citizenship. Okay. Like that, different nations embody different conceptions of what the relationship between different regions of nation and the central government should be. and this relationship constitutes the national identity of a country. As we can see that there are various states in our country. We say that we are Bihari, we are Marathi, we are Punjabi, whatever. But the most common and important thing is that we all are Indian. We all are the citizen of the same country. I hope you are getting my point. Okay. So now let us move to another topic, which is the authority of a constitution. So far we have discussed the function of a constitution. Now we will see the authority of a constitution. Okay, we have outlined some of the functions a constitution performs. Sorry, actually this place where I am living right now is very cold. Therefore, I am having some adjustments in recording the video. Okay, so if there are some background noise, I am trying to reduce it. But if there are some background noise, then try to ignore it as far as possible. Okay, from my side, I am trying to control the background noise since it is very cold here. Therefore the sound is echoing, background noise is echoing very much. As you know that during winters the echo is increased by multiple times. Okay, anyways, we have outlined some of the functions a constitution performs. These functions explain why most societies have a constitution. Okay, so on the basis of function we decide the importance or need of a constitution. But there are three further questions we can ask about constitution, that we till now we know that what are the function of constitution, but what is a constitution and how effective is a constitution? Is a constitution just, means is the constitution is serving justice? These are still a question. In most countries, constitution is a compact document that comprises number of articles about the state, which specify that how the state is to be constituted and what norms it should follow. When we ask for the constitution of a country, we are usually referring to this document, that we are trying to know whether it is written or oral. Okay, oral means case based. Whatever be the case, there should be a law, judgment, etc. Like United Kingdom, which do not have one single document that can be called constitution. Rather, they have a series of documents and decisions that taken collectively, and these series of documents are called constitution. So they are not having a single document, but they are having multiple documents, various decisions that they have taken during any cases. Suppose in the court a case has been come, and there the decision was announced regarding that incident. So whatever the decision has been announced there, it will be a law. Okay, it will become a law in the constitution. So there nothing fixed, there is the flexibility, there is the evolving in the constitution. Okay, So we can say that a constitution can be a single document, or a constitution can be a set of documents. Okay, series means set of documents that seeks to perform the functions that we mentioned above. So constitution can be a single document or can be a set of documents. But many constitutions around the world exist only on paper. It means that there is no any enforceability. So here again a question about the effectiveness of the constitution. What makes it effective? What ensures that it has a real impact on the lives of the people? Okay, we are making constitution, we are giving rights, but what are the basis of that? Will the laws made under the constitution or the rights given by the constitution impact our lives in a good way or in a bad way? So this effectiveness is the question here. Okay, so there are many factors upon which the effectiveness of a constitution depends, like mode of promulgation. Promulgation means how a constitution comes into being. Okay, so who crafted the constitution and how much authority did they have? Okay, who crafted means framer of the constitution, and how much authority did they have means who gave them authority to craft the constitution. In many countries constitution remain defunct, means there is nothing, no any function of the constitution, no work of the constitution. Constitution is useless. Why? Because they are crafted by military leaders or crafted by those leaders who are not popular and do not have the ability to carry people with them. If you are not a good leader, then the rules made by you will not be followed by anyone. Okay, and if you are a good leader, so whatever law you will made will be followed by the people. The most successful constitutions like India, South African constitution, the constitution of the United States are those constitution which were crafted in the aftermath of popular national movement. Why? Because national movement provided us popular leaders. Okay, people follow them, people follow their laws, people follow their words. So through national movement we got popular leaders. Okay, although India's constitution was formally created by a constituent assembly between December 1946 and November 1949, it drew upon a long history of the nationalist movement, as we have read in our modern history classes, that had a remarkable ability to take along different sections of Indian society together. Okay, we share history, we share experience, we share struggle. Okay, we share struggle, and that's why we live together. We have our leaders on which we believe, on whom we believe. Okay, the constitution drew enormous legitimacy from the fact that it was drawn up by people who enjoyed immense public credibility. As I have said, if you are a good leader, people will follow you, people will follow the laws made by you, who had the capacity to negotiate and command the respect of wide cross section of society, and who were able to convince the people that the constitution was not an instrument for the aggrandizement of their personal power. Okay, As you know that most of the political people made laws which benefits them, and that's why people do not follow those rules and regulation. But our leaders, we share history with them, we share our struggle with them. They convinced us, they proved that laws made by them are not for their personal use, they are for the welfare of all the people of India, and that's why we follow the rules made by them. The final document reflected the broad national consensus at the time. Some countries have subjected their constitution to a full-fledged referendum, just a referendum, where all the people vote on the desirability of a constitution. Okay. Indian constitution was never subjected to such a referendum. Okay. We do not require such things where all the people vote on the desirability whether we should have a constitution or not. This was not a case with us. Nevertheless, we carried enormous public authority. The Constitution of India carried enormous public authority. Why? Because it had the consensus, means people are agree with it, and backing of leaders who were themselves popular. Although constitution itself was not subjected to a referendum, means voting by all, people adopted it as their own by abiding by its provisions. We follow our constitution. Why? Because we respect it. We have not made it through referendum. We have made it because we respect it. It gives us coordination. It gives us a basic norms rules which allow the diverse people to live together. Okay, therefore the authority of people who enact the constitution helps determine in part its prospects of our prospects for success. Now, so one thing is done. Mode of promulgation, whether constitution is effective or not, depend on the leader, authority who is making the constitution. If he is selected by the people, if he is having a popularity in the people, constitution will be effective, and if not, then constitution will not be effective. Now, the substantive provision of a constitution. Okay, it is the hallmark of a successful constitution that it gives everyone in society some reason to go along with its provision. A constitution allowed permanent majorities to oppress minority groups within society would give minorities no reason to go along with the provision of the constitution. Suppose in a cricket team, the party that is batting there will always batting and you will always bowling. Will you play that cricket where the rule has been made that whoever is batting will always batting and whoever is bowling will always bowling? You will not accept it. Why? Because there is no reason to play a match where you will always throw the ball. You will not have the chance even to bat. And if you will not bat, then how will you win the game? Therefore, constitution should give reason for everyone to follow it. Okay, reason for everyone to follow it. Or a constitution that systematically privileged some members at the expense of others, or that systematically entrenched the power of small groups in society. It means that discriminatory, it is talking just about the discriminatory constitution, would cease to command allegiance. If any group feels their identity is being stifled, they will have no reason to abide by the constitution. And no constitution by itself achieves perfect justice. It has to convince people that it provides the framework for pursuing basic justice. people should agree, people should be ready to accept the constitution. Constitution should be just. Okay, ask yourself this question: what would be the content of some basic rules in society? What you will decide, some basic rules, what basic rules you will decide that people will follow, that will make the cooperation in the society. Okay, that will give a reason for everyone to go along with them. The more a constitution preserves the freedom and equality of all its members, the more likely it is to succeed. It means that constitution must provide you the freedom and equality. Everyone, all the citizens of our nation should be given freedom and equality, and then people will follow that constitution. Okay, so there is a question: does the Indian constitution, broadly speaking, give everyone a reason to go along with its broad outlines? So after studying this book, one should be able to answer this question in the affirmative. Okay, affirmative means positive way. Okay, so from here, balanced institutional design, we will see it in the next part. Okay, just another 1 hour class is enough to deal with this chapter. We have already completed half of the chapter and we just need some 30 to 40 minutes to cover the whole chapter, and it will be completed in the next video. I hope you will support me by giving your precious like on this video and by hitting the subscribe button there. Okay, all right, then we will meet in the next video. Hope you will like the video and it must be helpful for you. That's all. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Goodbye.